Hey, you going, guys, and welcome back to another episode of What Do You Do for a Crust? With us today, we have, you've got a lot of skills and a lot of background, but specifically we'll unpack being a chef.
Yep.
Very excited to have a chef on because, one, I think knife skills are bloody awesome and they just look very, I don't know, there's something mesmerizing about watching someone just fast chop a bit of celery or whatever it might be. But thank you very much for giving up your afternoon, first of all.
Yeah, no, thanks for the invitation.
Really, really appreciative. I haven't been able to get a chef on before. I don't know why, but
They're
very,
all
very
working.
excited. Yeah, and that's I definitely want to ask you about that because I know you guys do a lot of hours. I'm guessing there's meal prep, stock take, checking of equipment, materials, cleaning. I'm sure there's planning a menu. I'm sure it's seasonal. I'm sure there's cost avenues there as well, and a whole bunch that we could get into. But
Yep.
yeah, if you're okay, we'll go with the fast five or our first five
Yep.
first. How do you get into being a chef?
Well, excellent question. So in high school, I was a bit of a wild kid,
Yeah.
and I never really had a path. I was never one of those people that could be like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do with my life.
Mm.
And then one day, a hospitality teacher came up and said, I know this other teacher, her son just bought a cafe. They're looking for a dish hand. I thought, oh yeah, cool, just a bit of extra cash, and that place was chaotic.
Yeah.
But I went from dish hand to barista to short order cook. From there, I got picked up by an RSL, so I got poached.
Mm.
Um, and then I learned the bar and gaming, and I was at the same time, like I left home when I was 15.
Mm.
And we're talking like well over 30 years ago now.
Oh, mate, you don't look like you're that bloody old. Come
Thanks. Yeah. But at that time, like, because I got a twin sister, we moved out of home. We knew one of the kids at school, his parents owned a real estate agent, and they said, oh, there's this like old shack, like one street from the beach. Nobody wants it. It's asbestos. You can have it for $100 a week.
on. Wow.
So I put myself through high school. But as you can understand, being at that age, working full time, going through high school, there's a lot of bad influences start coming into your life.
Mm.
So by the time I got to 18, I knew if I stayed in where I was, things weren't going to be good for me because there was no real options for me to do anything other than sort of like, I don't know, just stick with hospo or whatever.
Mm.
So I ended up joining the army,
Yeah.
and I wanted to be in air defense.
Okay.
So I applied for that, and they basically said, look, your math is terrible. You can come back and try again in a year, or we'll take you on as a cook. And I was just like, you know what, let's do it. Let's have a crack at it. And yeah, and that's how I did my trade training in the army as a cook. And then life just happened from there, really.
Nice. I love, first of all, I'm also shit at maths, so fair call. I absolutely resonate with that.
Yeah.
I love your mentality on, I'll just give it a crack. Like, I the amount of people you meet that sit on the sidelines, I guess, just because they're so hesitant to take that leap or go, I'll just give it a shot and see what happens.
Yeah.
Like the world's yours to kind of think, great mindset, to say the least. And you start your professional career in maybe a little bit of a different pathway than the standard chef or cook, which
Yeah.
is, awesome though. I've got a lot. I've got so many questions now, to be honest, about how you go feeding, mass
Oh,
quantities, and I'm sure a lot of it, it'd be dietary requirements and all that kind of thing. But I'm guessing it needs to be cost effective, filling, probably a lot of protein, and healthy, energy based carbs and stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Shit.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
So, well, the army, I mean, they say to be a cook in the army, it's the hardest course you can do because nobody passes it.
Wow.
Yeah, because all the cooks are shit. So, and you just cop that every day. Being a cook in the army, it's just, why would you join the army to be a cook? Why don't you
Yeah,
join?
but I mean, everyone's got to have a feed, and
Yeah,
you're fueling the action, I guess.
yeah, yeah. And like in the back end, like, yeah, a lot of the infantry dudes and like artillery and all that, they leave the army, they're broken, they have no real path after the
I
army.
mean, you can't go and then work on, the civilian artillery.
Yeah, exactly. So when you join the army and you get a trade like that, you can just walk straight out and then just straight, and what's perfectly compatible with army cooking is the mines.
Mm.
And it's like, a massive bump in pay and yeah, and a lifestyle. So,
I say your pathway is definitely an interesting one because you've done a bit of everything, which is awesome. I think it kind of sticks with your mentality of yeah, I'll give it a crack and see what happens.
yeah.
Can I ask you, in a personal level as a chef, I'm finding these days, you can't please everyone.
Mm,
And not that I'm trying to be negative or whatnot. I'm not talking about societal views and all that kind of shit. But, if you make a beautiful meal for 100 people, I'm guessing there's at least a 1% chance that someone, oh, I don't like this, or I'm allergic to that, or I can't eat this, or I'm keto, I'm veggie, I'm, whatever it might be, celiac, all those kind of things. It is hard.
mm.
How does that go in the army in when you're, feeding the mass?
It A lot of those sorts of, I guess you could say, almost personality types
Mm.
kind of get weeded out at recruiting.
Okay, yeah.
It was becoming a little, like you can't take on, say, somebody that's got all these dietary issues
Mm.
because it's going to become an issue on the battlefield,
That's fair,
basically.
yeah.
So a lot of that sort of, it's changing now, but like, well, when I got out like 10 years ago. There was a few more dietary starting to come in and it was being addressed.
Mm.
But yeah, definitely the army, there's only a very small tolerance for it.
I mean, I can understand that, there's certain things that need to occur or need to continue to yeah, it's absolutely fair, and you can't, have a separate meal plan for a single individual when you're trying to feed 10,000 people.
Yeah,
Very fair. And I should clarify as well for the listeners that you were a chef in the army and you're still a chef. So obviously a bit of a different look at what the typical day looks like now.
very different.
Very fair. I would definitely want to get into that, but I've gotten off track, so I'm really sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Traits and attributes. What's some good traits and attributes that someone would need to have to be a good chef?
To be a good chef, you gotta love it.
Mm.
It is one of those jobs that it's passion based.
Mm.
And unfortunately, a lot of like owners, operators, head chefs will exploit you because of that.
Mm.
But in saying that, if you don't have a love for it, you'll be exposed very quickly. It's not one of those jobs where you can fake it till you make it.
You just sort of, I go to work and I do my job and then I go home. Like, it's not that kind of that avenue. You need to have a real passion and drive for it.
If you want to be good,
Yeah. Okay.
there are like little, like we've all been to that pub where, it's a schnitty and chips and it's
Yeah.
like the most average thing you've ever eaten in your life.
Mm.
But then you've been to another pub where the schnitties were incredible and they win awards and
Yeah,
it's like,
and even like their house salad is really nice because it's
yeah,
homemade dressing and, they've put a little bit of a garnish on it or something
yeah,
just to make it a little bit different and you go, "Fuck, this is great."
yeah,
Mm.
exactly right. Exactly. You can, I know it's a cliche, but you can really taste the love
Mm.
in food. And I even knew like, if I was having a bad like night or maybe I was really hungover or something like that,
Yeah.
I could tell the difference in my own food. Like
Mm.
it's so odd, but
Okay.
yeah.
Very fair. I mean, shit. I mean, it makes a hell of a lot of sense.
Hmm.
Pros and cons of being a chef.
The pros, it's an incredible skill to have.
Mm.
It's a skill you always have, like, um, and a con, it's just the hours and the money. You don't get fairly reimbursed for your time or for how much love you put into
Mm.
something like that.
I'm guessing to say that it's not just you've done a year and you're a good chef. It takes years and years of dedication, practice. Your knife skills, blending of flavors.
Yep.
How to cook things to a certain avenue. And again, we talked about we're getting into sort of a little bit more, maybe not fine dining, but someone likes their steak medium rare, someone likes it medium. Someone's interpretation of what medium rare is compared to medium might be completely out of whack. Oh, I don't like this, and you go, well, that's what you ordered. And the customer's always right. It's fucking bullshit in my
Oh,
opinion because I never believe that because a lot of the time the customer doesn't know what they bloody want.
oh, mate, like when I was living in Sydney, I worked at this like Italian restaurant and it had been there for 30 years, won every single award you can imagine. And one night, it was just a simple, like a carbonara. The head chef sends it out, it comes back.
Mm.
Like, what's wrong with it? And the chick said, "Oh, this is not the same carbonara my friend made me."
Oh,
And it's like, what,
yeah.
Well, uh,
I would assume that a lot of the work that you do is sometimes not fully appreciated. You know, like you said, you go to a pub and you have a snitty and chips and no worries at all, and you normally have a beer with it and all that kind of stuff. You know, Australians, we're normally pretty straightforward with what we want. I'm assuming. That's probably a huge assumption there, but I mean, it's you know a spag bowl compared, compared to a filet, like a really nice piece of steak or a tomahawk or something like that. Like, I don't think it's fair to expect fine dining if you do go to a cheap pub, or if you are going to fine dining, then, you should be expecting that, the meal is a little bit more constructed, or that you are designed to have a entree, main, dessert, and not just a main, and they go, "Oh, I'm still hungry," and you go, "Well, you didn't follow the course path that you're meant to take," or whatever it might be. And
Mm.
we had a wine, sommelier on a couple of weeks ago, and he explained it really well that, there's a lot of passion and drive that comes through just everything down to the fine detail of even just the choice of crockery as well, which I wouldn't have even thought about. Is that something the chef would normally get involved with?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Um, but I really respect something like gastro pub style,
Mm.
because
And
it's
so what's gastro pub style?
so it's not fine dining, but it's taking, like, say, a British classic pub menu and just elevating it
Mm,
to a level that is just outstanding.
mm.
And that's what I think. And there's a lot of, like, places around here you can get that sort of food, particularly in Adelaide. But, like, that's what I think all pubs should be like.
Should strive for.
Yeah, yeah, like, you should be bringing that sort of passion and yeah,
It is a cool industry though. Like there's fusions, there's a lot of different, like some of the chefs are they're getting down to a molecular level of how they're cooking things, and there's so many different ways to, like, I'm learning about, like chips or julienne or crinkle cut, or like how vegetables are cut and diced. Like there's just so many methods and techniques. It's actually quite elegant, I think.
oh, absolutely. And that sort of brings us back to, like, chefing is like it's a million different, like,
Yeah.
little tiny techniques and skills, and that's what makes a good chef. Like, the problem with social media is these kids are seeing, like, a cool looking dish or
Mm,
something that's viral, and then, like, particularly, like, apprentices will come in and be like, "Oh, I'm going to make this and it's going to be awesome." But it's like, yeah, that's cool, but you really need to start back at the start to
mm.
be getting to that level. Like, I don't know. It's this weird. It's like a mirroring culture. They just want to. I don't know. It's hard to explain. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah, very fair. Are you, as a person, are you quite meticulous? I would presume to say that, chefs, because it's all about, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're making three quantities of the same dish, you want it to look the exact same. Consistency is key. Am I right there?
yeah,
Is that
100%.
okay? All right.
Yeah. I mean, there are places where you can get a little bit of freedom.
Mm,
So, like, event centers, for example.
okay.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it, but, like, I was a head chef of an event center in Sydney, and, like, we'd just change the menu on the fly. Like, as far as they know, they're going to get steak and some sort of veg and this and that, and yeah, they're going to get that, but it's going to be, like, just a little bit twisted, or you can play with the garnish, or you can tweak things. Whereas in a restaurant, consistency is king. So, because someone might come this week and they'll love that steak, and next week they're going to come back and want that steak.
Same mistake again. Okay.
Yeah.
We covered key attributes. We sort of talked about, how you got into it and all that kind of thing. So I'm assuming apprenticeship wise, you start off as either a, what is the process, I should say?
So
You start off as an apprentice, or do you have to start as a dish hand and then get, found, or we're talking a certificate, we're talking a degree?
it's, oh man, it's worlds apart now, because hospo's really suffering at the moment because
Mm,
nobody wants to be a chef.
mm,
Like, plus to be an apprentice chef, you get paid nothing.
mm.
It's the money's so poor. And then to top it off, like, the best restaurants are all in the city, and nobody can afford to live near the city anymore.
Yeah, very fair. And then the commute, cost of fuel and all that kind of thing is fucking outrageous. So,
Yeah.
like, shit.
Yeah.
Okay. So can I ask, is that the only reason why it's a bit of a dying art? Is the wages, or is it probably a combination of the hours?
Yeah. The wages, the hours, and then I feel like in Australia, chefing's starting to get looked upon as just a stepping stone. It's like a
Mm,
stepping stone industry. Like, oh, I'm going to uni. I need some hours. Maybe I'll just do short order cooking. And another issue is like convenience.
mm,
A lot of places are like they're cutting away, paying a chef to do little techniques and, just say take example like a jus.
mm,
Like a jus can take a couple of days. A really good jus can take a couple of days. Where now you'll have like a convenient jus that'll take you 30 seconds. You can just whip it up, but you're not learning anything from that.
so it's kind of that craft, I guess, of the process over those couple of days to create such a wonderful flavor is now being replicated in another way, and it just takes the passion and enjoyment, but also, I guess,
Also,
the skill.
yeah, and yeah, the skill and like a lot of owners know that, they can just get some like a 17-year-old and throw them in the kitchen and be like, oh, you do the sauces, you do this, you do that.
Mm,
I'm saving money by paying this guy next to nothing,
mm.
and it's all just cheap, quick. They're making their money. I don't know, it's really disappointing.
It sounds extremely disappointing to say the least. I mean, I think one of the most romantic things you can do is make someone a meal.
Mm.
There's quite a lot of passion involved in it, like we've talked about, and I won my wife over with my sticky glazed lamb shanks.
Oof.
I remember when we were early dating, and I was a tradie back then. I just quit my trade, and yeah, had her over and did some, I did a nice jam glaze, and later she told me that it was actually way too sweet for her, which absolutely cut me down.
Oh.
But and I did all the trimmings and all that kind of stuff, and I fucking had like no money as well. Like the lamb shanks were really bloody expensive at the time as well. Um, and yeah, but it's passion. It's trying to do quite a nice thing for someone as well. Like
Yeah.
you've had a bloody long day. You're stressed. You're tired. Come home to a home cooked meal. It's actually really lovely. It's something almost, and I think some people would argue it's quite therapeutic cooking as well.
Mm.
Whether you are following a recipe or you're being creative and making something from scratch, it's quite fun in that avenue. Does it transfer when it's your actual career or job? Do you lose I know you mentioned, it is hard, it is a grind, there's a lot involved in there. We are talking about an industry that's not being potentially as valued as much as it should be, owners that are trying to save a buck and
Mm.
cutting costs. I mean, all of that's gotta take its toll.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of stress, everything is, you know, everybody wants their meal
Mm,
first,
yeah.
basically. But I can see what you're saying, like, it's very therapeutic because my favorite thing about being a chef was creating,
Mm,
the creating side. You know, I loved, like, I'd be at home, like, on my days off, like, just buying ingredients and, just trying to,
new flavors, new
yeah,
combinations.
yeah. And just like, I was obsessed with, like, collecting cookbooks. Like, I probably got
Nice.
like 2,000 of them sitting at home, just obsessed. And if I bought a book and I found one little thing, like that book was treasure, you know what
Mm,
I mean? So, and that's the sort of, I don't know, that's to me was the beauty of cooking, just the learning. I love to learn.
mm,
And it seems like there's just no end to learning and cooking. Like even
yeah.
the greatest chefs will say that. They'll be like, I'm always learning.
Mm. Um, did we go through pros and cons? Pros and cons of being a chef.
Yeah, I think we did that.
Did we cover that? I think we pros we're talking about, the enjoyment of creating meals and plans and such. And I'm guessing the cons is, yeah, the shift work is the split shifts,
Yeah,
underpaid, those kind of avenues as well.
yeah.
Okay. Um, uh, pathways or growth opportunities, I guess. So we're talking chef, and then is the goal head chef,
If
and
that's
then
what you want, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
sounds like there's a lot of pathways.
There is, um,
'Cause
but
you can get some into, like, really quite unique things now as well, like, you can have your own if you wanna do, like, a food truck, if you wanna
yeah,
do a cafe, if you wanna do a certain type of cuisine or fusion or maybe start a restaurant or whatever it might be. It sounds like there's a fair bit of opportunity there.
yeah, yeah, and even like you can go abroad and jump
Yeah,
jump
yeah.
in. You can go on like cruise ships. You can jump on the train that goes to the Ghan. You can do
Mm.
that. You can go hotels. You can go to the local cafe. Like everywhere there's food, you can go and train like kids. Like there's always opportunity in chefing.
It is a very, like, important industry, we all gotta eat. And it's I don't know, there's just something fantastic about food. Like, you eat a good meal, it's a cold and shitty, miserable day, and you
Mm.
have a nice warm soup or a whatever it might be, you have a Sunday roast, you have like a light fish dish in the summer, and you pair it with a nice crisp wine or a beer. Like, there's real enjoyment in food.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And, to top it off, there's also, like, a lot of culture, a lot of
Yeah.
history.
Yeah.
There's I mean, who doesn't love like, I mean, it's so like, a butter chicken, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not even an Indian dish
I mean,
realistically, but
Westernized Avenue, but I mean, it's still just quite a delicious, wholesome thing.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and, we're not even I haven't even gotten into the, salt, spice, sourness, like all those flavors and combinations
Mhm.
is really fascinating. I quite like sweet things, and I like baking quite a lot, and my wife really likes sour things, so she loves, like, ceviche and those kind of things, and, I mean, there's just so many options, like, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I do think the world is definitely getting bigger when it comes to food, and please, whether you agree or disagree with me, I'd love to get your opinion. We are getting more vegan options. We are getting more, you know, organic, grass fed. All those kind of things. We are getting gluten free. We are getting dairy free. All those kind of avenues. Well, it sounds like we're expanding.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of it is just sales pitches and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but, like, as a chef, I originally I hated all that, "Oh, vegan this and gluten-free that," and, but then, like, I just changed my mindset, It's like, "Wow,
Mm.
this is quite a challenge." Like, I like the challenge of it all, and then, like, 2 years ago, I got diagnosed as a celiac, so it just
So
through
you go, all right, new path, like new avenue to try things and blend things and find
yeah,
alternatives.
and then sort of, like, I started, um, moving my menus towards trying to incorporate everything, gluten-free, dairy-free, this, that, and then that way you can sort of capture whole audiences.
Mm.
Um, but there is the other side of the coin, the people that are, "Oh, I'm gluten-free today," or "I'm a vegan, but I love chicken nuggets." Those
Yeah.
sorts of people. The other day I made a pizza and, the order came in and, they wanted a margarita, no tomato. So no tomato base, no tomato, and
So
it's like
what's it left with? It's bits of basil.
basil and cheese.
Ugh.
Like, why?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's so
I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure you've seen some ridiculous things come through on the docket or the ticket to go, "Yeah, I want," I remember seeing one, when I was in hospital for a little bit, and someone wanted an obscene amount of olives, and they just wanted, like, an entire jar of olives
Yeah,
put on the pizza, and you go, "Shit, that's a lot of olives," but that's what they wanted, and you
yeah,
wouldn't have been able to taste anything else except olive juice and salt, but
yeah,
that was their call.
yeah,
The last one for our final five, and apologies, listeners, I've definitely not kept on topic here, so that's my fault. Salary range. We talked about, and I know this is going to be really hard to answer because, difference between 10 months in as a first year apprentice compared to, 10 years in or, 20 years in and different sectors and fine dining. And you mentioned you're in Sydney and then in the army. I'm sure it's all very different, but
yeah.
roughly what kind of coin are we talking?
So right now, it's it's gone up quite considerably. I mean, for a long time, like, the going rate just seemed to be $25 an hour. It was like no matter where I went, they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, $25 an hour." And, but now I notice a lot of jobs are offering between, 75 to 85, which isn't too bad, but you gotta give your soul. So,
I mean, it's a bit of a hard trade-off as well. A lot of the time I would guess you're giving up, your afternoons to do lunch shift, you're giving up your evenings to do dinner shift, plus the prep work, plus weekends. Like, when everyone is off, you're working, would be my guess.
yeah, and the worst phrase to sort of come into Australia is, like, when they talk about overtime, it's like there's a phrase for it, it's like, oh, it's not acceptable overtime, but, like, so when you sign a contract, it'll be like 38 hours
Yeah, and then
and
when you go over that,
reasonable overtime, they call it, sorry.
oh, okay. That's fucking bullshit in my
It's
opinion.
horrific, and, like, I've worked 80 hours a week, but I'm
Mm.
still only getting paid for that 38.
See, this is what I don't understand, and this is my trade background coming in. I had a similar contract, and when I was an apprentice, I think I was on, like, $5 an hour. So when I went over my weekly, 38 hours, everything was then time and a half or
Mm,
double time or whatnot. So it made doing extra time worth it.
Yeah.
The sector that I'm in now, they don't have that. They have like time in lieu, which is just like you get the time back when you want to take it. And you go, well, there's no benefit for me to do the extra hours.
Yeah.
But you can't just walk away or walk off the job. Like yeah, I agree with you. I think it's really quite dodgy, the buggers.
Oh, absolutely. And
Hey,
some people will just use that
they
phrase
take
to,
advantage.
yeah, take advantage and just benefit themselves.
And
And
particularly in an industry or a sector and a career where a passion is a huge driving force,
mm,
uh, like you said, there's some potentially taking advantage,
yeah.
which is really disappointing.
Oh, not some.
A lot. Okay.
A lot.
Do you have any advice for some, potential listeners out there who are going, I've always loved food. I love creating. I love cooking during the week and making my family some meals and all that kind of stuff, and are considering a chef as a pathway.
Hmm.
Any tips or tricks for them to?
Yeah. I mean, like, it is right now, it would be the easiest trade to get into. Like,
uh,
you could just about knock on any door and they'll take you.
It's a good sign. So,
Yeah.
I mean, job availability is definitely a plus.
Yeah. So that's the one thing, you'll always have work.
Mm,
Um, but it's like anything. If you rock up and you show that you're super keen, there'll be somebody be like, yeah, all right,
yeah.
let's go. And it's up to you, like you could go down the path of the apprenticeship. I think it's down to 3. I think it's 3 years now. It used to be 4, now it's like 3, which isn't like this. It's not cool.
I mean, you need time to learn those skills. I mean, like I said at the start, it's great seeing, that fine chopping and, elegant cuts. And you are using, you're dealing with flame, you're dealing with heat, you're dealing with sharp knives, you're dealing with machinery and all those kind of things. Like there are quite a lot of dangerous things in, a kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, like I've worked in kitchens where I was the only chef there.
Wow.
And it was just, like 5, 60-year-old women, and they could smash the shit out of me. Like they were just so good.
Mm.
They were never classically trained, but man, they were good at their job. So if you don't want to do the apprenticeship, you can become a cook, and there's, like
Other
pay
pathways.
scales for that.
Okay. Fair enough.
Um, but yeah, I mean, the world's your oyster, and.
Very fair, very fair. Can I ask you, this is very, it's intentionally your sort of personal opinion, I guess. So it's a good thing this podcast is anonymous. Where do you sit on all the, because you do see a lot of publicity around chefs. You've got, your Gordon Ramsay, Jamie Olivers, all those kind of things. Often chefs are very much stereotyped as being like shouty,
Mm.
angry men, who are on the drugs, drink wine through shift, and just shout at people. Is that the case for everything? Is that just a bad stereotype? Where do you sit on that? Because you're really lovely and you're
Oh,
very
thanks.
easy to chat to, and you've been very open. And
Yeah, and I made that a thing when I was running kitchens, to be that sort of approachable.
mm,
Because the problem with, like, I can't hold a flame to Gordon Ramsay or Marco Pierre White or any of those guys. But the problem, they set this example and then like half grade idiot chefs thought, oh, this is what I got to
I
be.
just
I
need to
got to be.
be. I have to be that head chef asshole.
Yeah,
Ah,
and what sort of changed me was I worked in this restaurant. It was my first, once I left the army, I got picked up by this ultra fine dining place, and it was run by 2 head chefs, and they were both co-owners. And one was that guy. He was that angry. He was an alcoholic. He'd throw shit at you. And the other guy, he was so nice and kind, and he was the hardest worker I ever met in my life.
mm,
And I looked and I was like, well, here's 2 paths. Like, and guess who got the most respect? It was the nice guy, the guy that took the time to train people, like,
I think just people, like you said, it's a very, there's a big demand in the industry. Like, if you're getting treated like shit, I'd just leave. I'd be like, stuff you, I'll go somewhere else.
yeah, yeah,
What's
that's it.
that saying? You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar and all that kind of stuff. Interesting. Okay. Well, I mean, awesome. Very glad that you're the nice chef.
Oh, thank you.
There's something about particularly chefs and hospitality that's always fascinated me that I've loved. And I'd love to get your opinion on it to see if it's a real thing or if it's just publicized. And I don't know the correct term for it, but like Sunday meals, like team meals, is that a thing where someone makes a big, a big meal and you all get to sit down and enjoy it together? Is that, or is that just like a yeah, mate, that's in the movies. That never happens. We are constantly grinding. You never get any off time or time to share together. Is that a thing?
I've worked at places that had it, and I've
Okay.
worked at other places that don't have it.
Ah, fair enough. Okay.
Um, Some places won't do it just because of money, like they just
I mean, it just
refuse.
seems like I love the idea of it because you
Yeah,
know I can imagine. I think every listener would know that chef is fast paced. It is high pressure. It is. Yep, we've got 20 tickets. We've got however many seatings. Three whatever it is. Yep, we've got this crew that have come in, or we're overbooked, or whatever the hell it is. I love the idea that you guys would get to sit down and have a communal meal together and go through, yep, this is a plan, or hey, we're pushing the halibut because it's going to go bad, or, we've got so much of it, or whatever it might be.
yeah.
I just think it's really nice to be able to sit down with colleagues and actually share a meal before the time gets tough.
It's nice if you're the one that gets to sit down. It sucks if you're the one that's got to cook it.
Okay,
Because
very fair.
a lot of it too, like, is just like leftovers, but a lot of it um, becomes special. So, like,
Mm,
the chef will be like, "We got these ingredients left. We need to get rid of them. I want you to do something with it." And if you got like a super keen chef that has some decent skills, they'll put something out there, and everyone will just be like, "Wow!" And
yeah.
then like a menu's born, or like a dish is born from that, and I love that too. Like, I've worked in places like that, where it's really encouraged.
Mm,
So yeah, it does happen. It's just very rare.
fair enough. I do understand it is a business, things that, you got to keep the lights on. It is, they have to pay for salaries and all that kind of stuff. And I'm only imagining hospital is a very hard industry to be around because it is so fast paced and all those kind of things. Um, can I ask you a bit of a personal question here? There's always that stereotype that the plumber has the leaky taps, the mechanic has the really bad car, the electrician has the light switches that don't work. Is the stereotype to the chef never cooks at home? The Is that true?
No, my wife does not cook at all.
Okay.
She's oh man, I think she's done it 3 times. The first time she did it, she did like a curry garlic prawns, and I was
Oh.
yeah, it was very romantic. And I was looking at it, I was like, oh, what's that black stuff? Like, it's not pepper. Yeah, it was bits of the pan, like the
Oh
Teflon.
no.
So that was the first time. Then the second time, she like nearly cut her finger off.
Oh, Jesus.
And then the third time, which was the last time, I came home. I'd been at work. I came home and she's like, oh, I got dinner sorted.
Mm.
But she was on the computer. And then I looked, and in the corner of my eye, like, she'd put a pot of hot oil on and just forgot about it. Yeah. And it shot up like it,
Just sets the kitchen on fire?
yeah, completely just shot it. And oh man, that was chaos. Like,
Bloody hell, okay.
yeah,
I mean, I'm sorry to hear that because that sucks, but I would assume you've been cooking all day. The last thing you wanna do is come home and then cook again.
sometimes. But, that's what you got to take it out for,
I mean, that's
realistically.
very fair. Do you find, and this is a very silly question for me, so I do apologize. A lot of the time I find, it's the start of the week, we're doing our grocery shop, I can't fucking decide what to cook for the week.
Yeah.
Do you have that issue as a chef? Or do you always go, "Oh, I wanted to do this. I haven't had that in a while. I've had a hankering for this. I wanna blend those flavors. I wanna try that." Or do you just sort of you stick to the norm, or do you have the same issue?
Probably the opposite. I just want it, there's too much, like, I mean, it sounds stupid, but
No, not at all.
like, if we got a thing of like chicken thighs there, it's like, well, we're going to have pad thai. Are we going to do a nice curry? We're going to do this, that, that. And yeah. But eventually it's sort of, because I got 2 kids and like they have pretty good palates, but like they, so they love sushi. So I know Monday's going to be sushi. They love curry. So it's going to be curry. And then you sort of get into that rut where every week becomes the same
Mm.
because the kids want those
Yeah, they
meals.
dictate the meals. I mean, that's very fair.
Mm.
I mean, I would say that they're very lucky to have a chef as a dad because they're getting. I mean, I've tried making sushi a couple of times and it's been horrendously shit. It falls apart. I think they'd be pretty lucky. They're probably getting quite good quality food.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think they realize it yet, but hopefully when they grow up and leave
I'm
home,
sure. I'm sure they will. I love my mum and dad, but some of the things that they fed us was questionable, like ham steaks, tuna
uh,
mornay, just
classics.
oh, the classics, but just salt. It was
Yes.
just absolute shitload of salt.
Yep.
And not that yeah, I should say I was very, very lucky. But yeah, I love the idea of a chef. I got to admit, it sounds cool. Like it almost feels like a bit of a rock star kind of avenue because you are running a kitchen, you are dictating. Like I've been led to believe that everything doesn't leave the kitchen unless you've had eyes over it.
Mm.
You do a lot of tasting, I would guess, all those kind of things. Is that the standard case, or is it, You know, and I would assume that this changes based on, you know, where you are and what, you know, particular fine dining, whereas, you know, whatever it might be. How's it sort of normally work, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's checks at every level, you know. So
Mm,
when the fruit and veg come in, it's checked. It's checked before sort of even the delivery driver leaves, you know. And then once it's sort of everything's prepped, it's checked again. And then once everything gets to sort of the plate level, you're tasting. But like, it depends on the level.
you're only one person, you can't be everywhere at every time.
No. And it comes down to like trust in your team as well. You got to be able to trust that they know what they're doing. But that's one of those things with the industry, like those people, like they're becoming less and less.
Mm.
So then you sort of really have to watch. And then it also comes down to how well you train people yourself. Like, um, it's easy to blame someone for a shit meal, but realistically, like if you're the head chef, you need to take responsibility because you're the one that taught that person.
I mean, that's very fair. I mean, I would say it would work the other way where if someone complains, they're not gonna complain to the second-year apprentice or the, you know, the fryer cook or, you know, the person who's working the grill. They're gonna go, "Oh, I wanna speak to the head chef. I'm not happy with this," and,
Yeah.
you know, go from there, which reflects poorly on yourself or, you know, whoever's doing it, which I mean, it's a tough industry to say the least.
Yeah. It takes one person to have a shit day.
Yeah.
And then, you know,
And we
oh,
all have shit days, like, it's
yeah.
human nature.
And it's on both sides. Like the chef could have a shit day, or it could be, you know, Mary's just had a shit day at work and she's come in for a feed and it wasn't good enough for some reason. And now she's on Facebook bagging it out and
Mm.
the Adelaide Hills chat or whatever. And,
Mm.
you know, and then people will start, you know what they're like around here. They all start, oh, you don't want to go there. I heard the food's really
I
crap.
was gonna say it can be very I mean, it's a pro and a con, I guess, of many industries, but I would say probably a con that, you know, social media has such a large influence now.
Mm,
You know, word of mouth gets around very quickly and, you know, someone might have a bad experience because something wasn't exactly right or they didn't, you know, they had to wait an extra minute to get their fork that fell on the ground and to get a replacement or whatever it might be. Like there's so many it's a finely tuned machine, you know, a restaurant, a cafe
mm,
for everything to work perfectly. And I mean, it's such fast pace as well. I feel like it's a bit intimidating as someone who's an outsider looking in.
yeah.
Is it just the norm for you now?
Yeah. I mean, it's still chaos. Like it's still, there are days when you get in the weeds and you don't think you're like, I'm never getting out of this.
Do you like the chaos? Because I've I went to a restaurant with my wife a couple of months ago, and we were very lucky that they'd overbooked. Our table wasn't available, and they said, "Oh, do you want to sit at the counter looking into the kitchen?"
Mm,
And we love that because we get to see everything, and we're like, we'll eat shit with sugar on it if you put it in front of us. Like we don't care.
yeah.
We're definitely not food snobs because we didn't have to cook, we didn't have to do the dishes. We had a nice glass of wine or a beer. Like we're happy.
Yeah.
So getting to sit there and watch and hearing the yes chef, no chef, 2 minute chef, like it's like it almost feels like a train station on a platform. Just everything is to the minute.
Mm.
You know, everything's checked, tested. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Um, but everything comes back to your preparation, really.
Mm,
If your prep is good, your night will flow.
yeah.
But if you have one thing, like we call it the prep gods, and they know, like if you're short on one thing, that thing's going to get ordered. If you got 9, it'll get ordered 11 times. It's just how it is. And then that can sort of really mess you up
Mm.
because then you're sort of chasing your tail to get that one item back.
But even then, that's something that's I would assume is then out of your control. Say you're ordering I don't know, 200 servings of a specific type of fish or a specific cut of beef,
Hmm.
and they go, "Sorry, we only had 150." That's not your fault. How are you meant to then, like, what do you do then? Like, you know, like that's out of your hands.
Yeah. Yeah. And it happens all the time.
And I haven't even got into, you know, like the cleaning that you guys would have to do as well. Like, I just, you know, obviously you're dealing with food and all those kind of things, and there's, you know, temperature control, walk-in fridges and freezers, like all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Do you get a break? Like, it just sounds hectic. It sounds incredible, and I understand needing the passion and that kind of stuff, and I'm all for cooking and whatnot, but it sounds nuts.
Yeah. a, like a big part of why I sort of a lot of my career I jumped from, like I was at restaurants and like a normal restaurant day it might start at 8, 9, 10. you're straight into prep. Like you got to prep, straight into a lunch service. If you get smashed, guess what? You're back to prepping,
Mm.
and that's your lunch break. You're prepping
Until for
till
the next
dinner,
jeez,
and then you get smashed again, and then you got to prep again. So you got something to kind of kickstart the next
for the
day,
next day.
and then you got to do your hygiene, and then like you might not finish till midnight, 1 o'clock. And it's like that for 6 days, 7 days if you're unlucky.
I mean, it's a lot of work, to say the least. It's a hell of a lot of work.
Mm.
Um, yeah, wow. Can I ask you, what were the biggest differences going from the army to then, outside army chef cooking kind of avenue? Because I'm gonna assume there'd be some transferable, you're still cooking for the masses, but it's
Yeah,
all like order as compared to large bulk materials. Like, how's that work?
it was a massive. I immediately recognized I was lacking a lot of skills
Okay.
because the army it's more like your buffet style.
Mm,
But when you do sort of offices and that's all a la carte style, and it's a bit you can like really improve your skills. But in a restaurant, it's pace. Like you need to be quick all day, fast, 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 fast prep. Fast service.
mm,
In the army, you kind of had to like all day to sort of all right, here's breakfast, here's lunch, here's dinner. But yeah, that was the first thing I noticed. I was lacking some skills. The other thing, the one thing that I could smash in was my work ethic. Like I could just go and go and go.
mm.
And I was extremely disciplined. So my uniforms were always crisp white and, I always presented well. My eyes were sharp and I was always, always keen. But
You have that drive.
yeah, just the thing that like that's the thing that the military puts into you, like always be ready, And a lot of places respect that because like I did 11 years in the army and when I got out, the thing that blew my mind was like everyone was just so undisciplined. Like,
Mm.
the army is like, all right, just say you got to start at 7, you'll be there at 5:30. It's just like
It's
that.
just the norm.
Yeah, it's the nature of the beast. But
Mm,
I'd start at like 9 o'clock in the morning at restaurants. Dudes are rolling at like 10 past, and they'd be like, well, chef jacket half ripped, or they're still hungover, and I'll be like, what the hell is this? I don't understand.
mm.
But that was probably the culture shock of just normal civilian life, I
It
guess.
sounds really cool though that that trajectory, I guess, has set you up to be, high quality and to, to have that drive and that go, okay, yeah, I'm recognizing I want to build my skills here. And, like the fact that you had the drive, the motivation, you could go bloody anywhere and pretty much outperform anyone because you're just going to keep improving.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty appealing skills and qualities to say the least.
Oh, yeah, and that's just army in general, I guess,
Mm.
like the defense, and that's from day one. As soon as you roll in there, just hurry up, like move with a purpose.
Mm. Can I ask you, and you're more than welcome to ask to answer on the basis of either army or outside of army. How do you go when it comes to like meal prepping, not meal prepping, but like menu prepping? I don't know what you call it, where you want to when you're designing a menu.
Hmm.
Um, how often do you do it, and what's it kind of look like? What's the process?
It depends where you are. So restaurants, a lot of it is built off of specials, realistically. So when you see a special, it's a chef they're either trying to get rid of something or
Mm,
they're trying something new. So, and then that'll feed in, um, and like seasonal ingredients. You're not going to put mangoes on in winter,
mm.
stuff like that. Um, and if the restaurant's got a theme, then you got to stick to. If it's Italian, you got to stick to Italian.
Yeah, very fair.
Um, but like I said, that's why I liked event catering because you can just do whatever you want,
Mm.
and it could be awesome as long as you can pump out, say, 300 dishes in a small amount of time. They can't have too many elements, like
I can imagine it needs to be, assembly line kind of avenue.
yeah,
Like, how do you keep 300 dishes warm
yeah,
in one go?
yes,
Because it's pretty hard to do.
purely. You're right. It's assembly line. Yeah.
Mm,
So, and that's good because like you'll have the numbers. It's not like a restaurant like, oh, all right, we've got 100 booked, but then like 150 people will walk in.
mm,
And then you're sort of like, oh, shit, I'm going to run out of this. I've got to do this. Um, you already know, it's like, all right, there's 100 coming in. There's going to be 2 gluten-free meals, like 1 vegan, all ready to go. That style of cooking it's nice. It's very easy going.
It sounds like it gives you definitely more opportunity to prepare
Mm,
and go, yeah, this is how I want to do things. Whereas, it's a restaurant. My mind is spinning for the avenue of how much you would have to prep. Like even not just the core ingredients of what you need to actually make the dishes, but the oil, the herbs, the salt and pepper, all those kind of things. And then you get some dickhead like me who puts it, tomato sauce all over it. And you go, you prick, I've just made this wonderful curry and you butcher it with whatever it might be. But all the accoutrements that you need to then create a dish and a meal, and the presentation
mm,
and all those kind of things. Like it's a process, and I keep circling back to that passion.
yeah,
You kind of have to have that. It's how you really need to have that passion to go. Yep, I like this. I'm happy with the meal, but I don't know how it's presented, or I want, should it be a bowl or a plate? I like this size, not that size. It's even portions.
yeah.
I'm quite a short fella, but I like a good feed. I've got a friend of mine who's 6'10" and eats twice as much as I do. If we both sit down and order the same thing, I'm gonna be happy with the general serving size. He's gonna be like, "Oh, it's not enough." How do you find the right in between as well?
Money.
Money.
It all comes down to the dollar,
Mm.
really.
Oh, fair. Very fair.
Yeah, because I mean, you're a business, not a charity, as they
Mhm.
say.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, people like I said, we're going out for a feed. We don't have to cook. We don't have to clean. You're getting service, all those kind of things
Yeah,
that comes into it.
yeah.
And then, yeah, obviously that's what is generating income as well as I'm assuming, wine and alcohol and all those kind of things. But that's what's keeping the lights on is the food.
Oh, definitely. Like I've worked at a pizza place, and like the pizza bases were all brought in, you
Mm,
know, and like when you think of like a pizzeria, like the chef's like,
yeah, throwing the
"Right,
dough up in the air
yeah,
and, all that stuff, stretching and folding and
yeah, and these pizzas were all the bases are brought in, and the reason they do that is because that time spent like making the dough and do this and that,
letting
and
it rest and rise and
yeah, yeah, that's gone. Like,
mm,
so now it's just the pizzas are all pre-made in the fridge, pulled out. I know what you're going to order, the margarita or the Sicilian or whatever off the menu. I know what I'll just pull that out, bang that in the oven.
well, you've only got so much time as well, I would presume,
Yeah,
and I would guess, I would guess that there's been a lot of situations where either the kitchen's inefficient, as in, like it's a small space, or you've only got one grill or a certain sized oven. You
right.
can only fit so many. You only got so many pans, so many boilers, whatever it might be.
Mm,
You can't cook 300 meals at once.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's like another thing that, like you're asking about creating menus, that's another thing you got to be aware of, the equipment that you actually have
Mm.
to, like pump out that sort of thing. It's all good to say, yeah, I want this, I don't know, incredible fresh made focaccia to go straight out on the table. But man, if your oven can't, like every time you open the door, it drops 100 degrees,
Yeah.
it's, they're never getting that focaccia, mate.
And if that oven's, $200,000 but 10 years old,
Mm,
and the handle's fallen off and there's duct tape or it's bolted on and whatever it might be,
yeah.
like you got to work in the parameters that you can.
Oh, absolutely. Like I stitched myself up bad once. I was on Facebook Marketplace and this cafe had closed down and they had to convey a pizza oven.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
the place I was working at, I said, "Oh, look, it's super cheap." It was dirt cheap, man. It was only like $100 or something. It was massive. And so I brought it in and I was like, "Yeah, let's do like this pizza night," because it was like a winery that had like a little, like a cafe attached to it, but
Yep.
they did night meals.
Mm.
And I said, "Let's get this thing in and we'll just pump out these sick pizzas." Rah, rah, yeah, cool. First order I get in, 19 pizzas.
Jesus.
And this thing would pump out a pizza every like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's the first order. And man, we just had like,
19 pizzas, 2 minutes. You're already sitting at, yeah, what's that? Over half an hour at
yeah,
least.
yeah, yeah. And then the orders just kept coming and coming and coming. And this thing just could not keep up.
Mm.
So,
I mean, I would argue anyone that's ordering 19 pizzas, like, you could have the best oven and it's still going to take, oh, well, you know better than I would, but however long it takes.
yeah,
Things take as long as they take. Like
that's
it
right.
it is what it is. Can I ask you your general opinion of fine dining and where that kind of sits? Because I know some individuals that it's not for them,
Mhm.
that they aren't happy with the portion size, or they just don't, that whether they don't have the palate or the interest, or they see something and go, yeah, it tastes nice, I'm going to eat it, and that's fine. But they don't maybe appreciate the meal, the design, or the structure that's gone into it. Um, I remember I've done a degustation once where the dessert was in a box that had some applewood smoke, and it was incredible.
Mm.
And, it was expensive, but trying to tell the person sitting next to me who was going, "Shit, that's expensive," and I've gone, "Yeah, but you're paying for the experience." Like, you open up this beautiful handcrafted box and, you get this whiff of applewood smoke, and it was this beautiful, like, decadent chocolate dessert. I think it was a chocolate tart or something, but, and him next to me is like, "That's 40 bucks, what the fuck?" And you're like,
Mm.
"But it's, like, it's incredible, it's a special treat. It's not something you do every day. Someone's put a lot of time, passion into that." And it felt like it just went over their head, which is
Mm.
absolutely fine. Everyone has different avenues. Where do you sit on the whole fine dining as a chef?
There's
And as a chef that was in the army as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's levels to the game.
Mm.
Absolutely. Um, there's also a lot of, I don't know, smoke and mirrors too.
Yeah.
Like I worked at a place that it was a winery, had their own blends of wine. But what they'd do is they just get the cheaps, like clean skins from Dan Murphy's and then put their own sticker on it and sell these bottles for
Oh,
$30.
cheeky. Bloody
And
hell.
a lot of places are like that. So they'll just buy the cheapest whatever,
Mm.
but it's the experience that you're like, oh, wow, this place is incredible. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying that, all fine dining is like that. But I think fine dining I wouldn't say it's ever going to go away, but it's starting to, like, people are over the foams and the this and the that. I don't think they see the value in it.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, everything's so expensive as it is already. Um, to get a pub meal now is like 40, 50
I was
bucks.
gonna say, and, people are doing it tough,
Yeah.
rising cost of living,
Mm.
price of fuel, interest rates, all that kind of stuff. Like, less and less people are gonna be able to afford fine dining, or, yeah, it's the anniversary dinner, we'll do the 3 course instead of the 5 because, you know, just we don't want to spend the extra cash. I get a bit shitty with desserts these days, and I'd love your opinion on this as well. I am sick to fucking death of panna cotta. What happened to just a good like, I'm not a big dessert man. I like sweets, but I won't normally order a dessert. Just I
Yeah.
normally will have a nice glass of wine and that'll do me. But if I want a dessert, I want something that I wouldn't normally have. I want something naughty, something
Yeah.
sexy, dark chocolate, caramel, something that's gonna blow my socks off. And then I get fucking like mush.
Yeah.
I'm like, "What's this?" Or I get a fruit salad and I'm like, "I don't
Oof.
want that. I want something disgusting."
Yeah.
What's going on? Like, is it a health kick that we're going through at the moment? Like, it just seems, or is it just like you said, is it the price and saving a buck?
Yeah. That skill level.
Yeah.
Um, like,
I need to go to better places by the sounds of it.
yeah, no, I mean, to use your example, like a panna cotta is something you can make 100 of them in 20
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
You
Very
know,
fair. Mm.
it's quick, it's easy, it's cheap. It'll sit in the fridge for like a couple of days. Um,
Mm.
and then like a lot of the restaurants, like I was saying, you can get a job anywhere. It's because everywhere's understaffed.
Yeah.
So they'll just push. There used to be somebody on a dessert section, like your pastry chef, and
Yeah. Like, a souffle. Oh my God.
oh yeah,
You
it's
know?
super rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, now everything, if it doesn't come in a box that they can't quickly cut up or
Mm.
pull out of the fridge, it's disappointing.
Okay. Fair enough. It's probably me being a bit cynical and a bit harsh, I guess. But, and yeah, again, I have an appreciation of, yeah, I didn't have to cook it.
Mm,
I absolutely get there's a lot that goes into it and all those kind of things, and probably a lot of time pressure and cost pressure as well. We are getting to the end of our time,
yep.
and I'm very ashamed to say, because we've barely even scratched the surface of your career, your expertise across multiple sectors. So,
Yeah.
we might need to do another episode if you're keen.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I want to ask you, I guess, and I do apologize because this is a very direct question. Do you have a favorite meal? Do you have a favorite cuisine? Do you have a go-to, you know, specialty that you like to do, or are you sort of like a cheese on toast kind of bloke? Like, what's your preference?
I For cooking, what
Yeah,
I love making desserts. Like
nice.
I don't know, I love the beauty in it. Like it's just something stunning. You can make a dessert.
People look forward, like, you know, you get a beautiful steak, beautiful pasta, seafood, whatever it is, and you go, "Oh, that's nice." And then you get the dessert and you're like, "Do you get room for a dessert?" "Oh, yeah, maybe a
Yeah,
little room."
yeah,
And, "Oh, you know, I got my second stomach." And,
yeah,
you know, "Oh, do you wanna split, you know, I don't know, you know, a chocolate tart, you know, a souffle, you know, a lava cake," whatever it might be.
yeah,
"Oh, yeah, that sounds nice. Okay, I'll be yours," and, you know,
yeah,
all that kind of stuff.
yeah. But alternatively, I'm a rissoles and mash guy. Like I
Oh,
just
yeah,
love a good rissole.
fair enough.
Love mash, man. I just love mashed potato. I
Very
don't know.
I mean, the potato. Let's just spend a minute on the potato. What a versatile, you know, item, you know, boil it, mash it, fry it.
Yeah,
Oh, great in stews. I mean, God,
I know.
where would we be?
You can't do that with rice, can you?
Fair. Do you have a favorite type of cuisine?
That's a good question. I I don't know. I like it all.
Yeah.
There isn't like obviously I love traditional French.
Mhm.
I love Italian. Um, but you know, like they obviously hold their roots in chefing.
Yeah.
But like I love a good stir fry. I love a good curry.
I would love to go out for a meal with you. Not that I'm inviting myself, but I would love to see your appreciation or your interpretation of going out and having a meal, and you know, whether you're dissecting it or you just literally enjoy it for what it is. And, you know, you probably have a lot more of appreciation to a meal than what I would, that you know what has gone into it, you know, the planning and, you know, the time and all that kind of stuff. Or maybe not gone into it, where you go, "Oh, they half-assed that. They should have put a bit of,"
oof.
you know, or they haven't seasoned it correctly
Yeah.
and whatnot. Is there a bit of a sort of one way that you lean to in general? Do you normally appreciate? I'm sure there's probably you know, both in different scenarios, I guess. But
Hmm.
do you find yourself sort of going, "Oh, nice, that's really good," or, "I want to go chat to the chef and get, you know, what do you put in that sauce?" Or you go, nah, mate, you've missed the buck on that. Needs more seasoning," or bit small, those rissoles.
Yeah. No. I. I'm a. I'm not a critic. What I am is the person that would go to the pub, order the expensive steak, and then the 200-gram cold dry thing will come out with the cold chips, and it's just like, why does this keep happening?
Yeah.
You know. But if I do like the Uradla Hotel,
Mm,
if you go there on their menu, it's like an entree menu. They have these sticky lamb ribs. They are unbelievable.
nice. That's a good recommendation.
Yeah, yeah. And I had them a few weeks back, and from then on, I was obsessed. I was so obsessed. I went home, like I just studied until I cracked the code, and then yeah, like and now I just use it. Like that's how I sort of approach cooking. Like
Nice.
if there's something that I just don't know, like I will study, and until I've cracked it.
Very fair. This is my last question,
Mm,
because we are getting to an hour and I don't want to take up too much of your time, so
yep.
I'm very sorry. And I should say for the listeners, I haven't prepped you in any of this, so this is a really leading question, and I'm really sorry because there's probably not going to be an easy answer.
Mhm.
If I were to say, you know, um, you're going to get the chair tomorrow, what would your last meal be? And I haven't asked a guest this before, but just I think given you're a chef, your years of experience in multiple different avenues of, you know, being a cook and a chef and in different platforms, I'd love to get your gauge on what to you would be the final meal. And I know that's a really hard question. Like, I'm sorry, you know, asking someone, "What's your favorite movie?" And you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh shit, Godfather." No, it's you know.
Well, I mean, you'd have to throw in a bit of the Colonel, surely.
Yeah,
I
yeah. I mean,
don't. I like it.
yeah.
Um,
I'm a sucker for KFC.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. I had these. They were made by my uncle. They were venison sausages, but he used like lamb fat
Ooh,
and like
nice.
just that venison lamb combination on these sausages, and then he just did this incredible like onion jus and just like really creamy mashed potatoes. Super basic. It's bangers and mash, isn't
Yeah,
it? But oh my god, just it just fills you up. It's like just
really
incredible.
wholesome and
Yeah, like the flavor profile is just something I wasn't expecting, and like a little bit of fennel seed in there, or
mm.
stuff like that. Bit of roast garlic, and oh
I
god,
think it'd be quite intimidating cooking for a chef because I'd be terrified that you're going to critique, you know, my plating, my flavoring, and everything really.
no, because we're just so happy someone's cooking for us.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
fair. Well,
yeah,
if there are any listeners out there that do know a chef, please make sure you cook him a meal every now and then because,
hundred
you know,
percent.
they appreciate it.
Yeah,
We are at time. Thank you so much. I know some of those questions were probably a bit silly and whatnot, but I mean, I have the utmost respect for yourself and the dedication you have towards food and flavor. And, we didn't even get into nutrition, but, there's so many avenues there. And I can understand it's not an easy gig. It sounds like a hard profession, but
Mhm.
sitting across from you, the passion you have around talking about food and the enjoyment around it is really fantastic as well. So, yeah, thank you very much for your time.
Oh, thank you, Ed. I really
Cheers.
appreciate it.